Hello, grade 8 students! I am Sir RJ and I will be your teacher for today. For today's lesson, we will discuss grade 8 mathematics. We are now on the second week of our third quarter.
Let us start this supplemental video with some drill questions. What is a triangle? A triangle is simply defined as a polygon with three sides. Now, what are the parts of a triangle? I'm sure you have learned this in your previous grade levels. Let's start with the vertices. Take note that triangles have three vertices. The next part of a triangle are the angles. One thing to remember is that the angles inside a triangle has a sum of 180 degrees. And the last part we have are the sides. At this point, let's have a quick review. On the screen, you will see triangle SRT. Now, your task is to name all of its vertices, angles, and sides. You may get a pen and a piece of paper to list down your answers. Are you ready? Time starts now!
Did you get the correct answer? Very good! Now, on the screen, we have two triangles whose sides and angles are both equal. Do you think these two triangles are congruent? You may be wondering what I'm talking about. So, to help you further understand this concept, we will have two lesson objectives. First is we will learn what triangle congruence is. And next is we will determine the corresponding parts of two congruent triangles. Let's begin. So what exactly is triangle congruence? By definition, two triangles are congruent if and only if their corresponding parts are congruent. Notice that the word parts is encircled. Can you still remember the three parts of a triangle? We have the vertices, angles, and sides. Now, how do we determine the corresponding parts of two triangles? Let's have these two triangles, triangle ABC and triangle XYZ, both of which are congruent to each other. We will first match their corresponding vertices. We have vertex A and vertex X. Take note that we use the line symbol with two arrowheads on both ends to represent correspondence. This can be read as A corresponds to X. The next pair of vertices that corresponds to each other is vertex B and Y. This is read as B corresponds to Y. And lastly, we have vertex C and vertex Z. So C corresponds to Z. We're done with vertices. Now, let's find the correspondences that exist between the angles of two congruent triangles. Let's start with angle A and angle X. The given symbols can be read as angle A corresponds to angle X. The next pair is angle B and angle Y. Angle P corresponds to angle Y. Lastly, angle C and angle Z. Angle C corresponds to angle Z. This time, let's have the correspondences that exist between the sides of two congruent triangles. Let's start with side AB and side XY. This is read as segment AB corresponds to segment XY. Next is side BC and side YZ. Segment BC corresponds to segment YZ. Lastly, side AC and side XZ. Segment AC corresponds to segment XZ. Here's a summary of all the correspondences that exist when triangle ABC is congruent to triangle XYZ. This time, let's try to answer some real problems. Problem number 1. In your grade 7 math class, you have learned about the kinds of triangles according to sides. You are given two isosceles triangles that are congruent. Your task is to determine all of its corresponding parts. Here's what it looks like. The tick marks in the figure indicate that those sides are of the same measure, thus they are equal. Do you still have your pen and paper with you? I will give you 10 seconds to list down all the correspondences that exist in the vertices of these two congruent triangles. Are you ready? Let's begin! Did you get the correct answer? I'll flash the figure again on the screen and I'll give you another 10 seconds to list down the correspondences that exist in the angles of the congruent triangles. Did we end up with the same answers? And for the last correspondence, here's the figure again. I'll give you another 10 seconds to match the correspondence of the sides. Well done! It seems like you got all the answers correct. Let's proceed to problem number 2. For this year's Christmas, your TLE project is to create a parole. Your parole must have 5 congruent triangles and its vertices should be labeled. Your task is to name 2 pairs of congruent triangles in your parole. Let's assume that you've drawn a sketch of your parole, and here it is. Study it carefully and think of at least 2 pairs of congruent triangles that you can match. Time starts now. If you have these 2 pairs of congruent triangles in your list, then you really did a great job. Did you enjoy this video? If so, I hope you learned something today. Now, to further understand and study more about the concepts for this supplemental video, please do check the second week, third quarter of your grade 8 mathematics module. I will see you again, grade 8 students. Goodbye!